the Winchendon School's production of Antigone.
Like a lot of theater programs around the world, we've had to ask the question,
how do you produce a play during a global pandemic?
Our production, like our school year, is hybrid.
We are trying to keep everyone safe during this pandemic.
You'll see some actors on stage,
some at home,
and some both in person and at home.
Our filming was stalled for several months,
so you might notice some changes in costumes and hairstyles.
We're always grateful for your support, but especially this year.
We're all really proud of it.
We look forward to seeing you again in Trust to Use Hall when it's safe to do so.
Thank you again, and enjoy Antigone.
Thank you again, and enjoy Antigone.
Enjoy Antigone.
Ismene, my dearest sister, see how Zeus fills our lives with the curse of our father Oedipus? What a pain, affliction, outrage, and shame have we not already suffered? And now this proclamation of today made by our Captain General to the state. What can he mean by it? Did you hear it? Or are you deaf when friends are banned as foes?
Antigone, I have heard no word of friend to make me sadder or gladder still, since we were both robbed of our two brothers in one day by double fratricide. No later news has reached me.
I assumed as much, and therefore summoned you beyond the gates to whisper it in your ear.
What is it? Some dark secret troubles your heart.
What could trouble my heart but both our brothers dead? One by Creon graced with funeral rites, the other disappointed. Eteocles he hath consigned to earth with all the rites and rituals the gods ordain, so gracing him among the dead below. But Polynices a dishonored corpse. So by report the royal edict runs, no man may bury him or mourn for him. We must leave him tombless and unwept, a feast for vultures to swoop upon and smell from afar. Such is the edict, if reports speak true, of Creon, our most noble Creon. He's here to announce it today officially, his new mandate. He means it. Such the edict runs, it's no passing rumor, for whoever breaks the law shall be stoned to death. So here we are. Now it's your turn to show if you are worthy of your bloodline.
But how, my dear rash sister, can I do anything to help or hurt in this situation?
I have a plan. Will you help me? You must decide.
In what plan? What are you thinking?
Help me steal Polynices' body.
Why? To bury him against the law?
He's my brother, and yours, even if you don't act like it. No one will say I betrayed my own brother.
You'd persist, even though Creon forbids it?
What right has he to keep me from my own?
Think, sister, of our father's fate. Abhorred, dishonored, self-convicted of sin. Blinded, himself his own executioner. And think of his mother-wife, who twisted her own cords to hang herself to death. And think of our wretched brothers, tied together in mutual destiny to die on the same day. Slaughtered, both the slayer and the slain. Think, sister, we are left alone. Are we not to die the wretchedest of them all? And if in defiance against the law, we cross a monarch's will, we must obey his orders. These are worse. I'm sorry, but my hands are tied, and I entreat the dead to pardon me, but I must obey the powers that be. I think it's foolish to meddle beyond your means.
Say no more. No, even if you were willing, I would not let you help me now. Go your own way. I will bury him myself. It'll be sweet to die this way. To rest, sister and brother linked in love's embrace. A sinless sinner, banned a while on earth, but by the dead applauded. And with them I shall live forever. Hate, if you will, the eternal laws of heaven,
I do not hate them, but I am not built to break the law or defy the state.
A lame excuse. I will go alone to put my dearest brother in a grave.
My poor, dear sister, I'm so afraid for you.
Oh, waste no fears on me. Look to yourself.
At least don't tell anyone else about your plan, but keep it a secret, as will I.
Oh, tell it, sister. I shall hate you more if you don't spread the news all over town.
Your passions are too fiery for such cold work.
Perhaps, but someone has to do it.
If you succeed, but you are doomed to fail.
When my strength fails me, yes, but not before.
Why try if there is no hope of success?
Sister, leave me alone or I will hate you soon. And the dead man too, but with much better reason. Say that I am mad and give my madness reign to wreck itself. The worst is but to die an honorable death.
Have it your way then. It's a mad plan indeed. But those that love you now, love you more than ever.
Do you remember how bright the sun shone on that day? I had never seen a sunset quite like it. The light made the western river look like it was running pure gold.
It reflected off the shields of the invading army, making them look like a field of white marble. Polynices led them to claim the city as his.
Did you see him in the crowd? He looked like a hawk swooping down on its prey. The shields of his army spread out like wings around him. His battle cry pierced our ears as it pierced our city's defenses.
They hovered outside the city walls like carrion birds, their weapons aimed. But before they could fire a single shot, before they had drawn one drop of our blood, they turned. And Thebes, our fair city, became a dragon to burn them down.
And we were not alone. Zeus hates bragging, so when he saw their fine, expensive costumes, he forked them with a blaze of lightning.
Polynices was struck. His weapon came from his hand, but still he came, tottering and swearing all across the battlefield like a drunken soldier. His soldiers didn't fare much better. Crushed under the power they faced, each met not with victory, but the dust.
At each of the 7 gates of Thebes, a fight took place. Captain against captain. Equal against equal. Laying their armor and weapons aside as offerings to Zeus, they fought with fists and knees. But one pair was special. One pair were brothers, born of the same noble, spoiled blood. These star-crossed brothers each took up their arms and killed each other in the same moment.
Our city is victorious once again and smiles at the fields around her. We should be celebrating with feasts and festivals. We should be filling temples with holy thanks. We should be dancing into the night to forget the horrors of war. Oh, Dionysus, help us to celebrate now. It's not working. We have to stop trying. Creon is our new king now, even if the circumstances that led to his coronation are a bit unusual. Why has he called us, the voices of the city, here now? What is so important that we must advise and debate rather than drink and dance?
Advisors, the gods have once again righted our storm posse of state and brought it safely into port. I have called you here as my most trusted counselors, first because I knew you loyal to Laius, our old king. Again, when Oedipus restored the state, while he ruled and when his rule was over, you remained constant not to a person, but to a royal line. Now that his 2 sons have perished in one day, brother by brother, murderously slain, by right of the next of kin to the dead, I claim and hold sovereignty over the throne. I know it is not easy to determine a man by his temper, his will and his mind, until he proves himself by using his power. In my opinion, if one who reigns supreme holds his tongue or changes his mind on policy in fear of the consequences, that man is the worst kind of man and leader. and I condemn the man who puts his friend before his country. For myself, I call upon Zeus, whose eyes are everywhere. If I find some treacherous plan to destroy the city, I will not hold my tongue. Nor will I deal with a friend in private who proved to be a public enemy. For I know that the city is the good ship that carries all of our futures. Farewell to friendship if she is destructive, for that is the policy by which I seek to serve the citizens. And because of this, I have created an edict that concerns the sons of Oedipus. Eteocles, who fought and fell in our country's battle, the foremost hero, was just buried with all observances and ceremonies that are the right of the heroic dead. But for the miscreant exile who returned to destroy his father's city and desolate his father's gods, Apollonices, I have ordered that none shall make burial for him or make more for him, but rather to leave his corpse outside our city's walls to be meat for dogs and carrion crows. So I am decided, as long as I am in charge, troublemakers will not be honored as true men, but all good patriots, alive or dead, shall have my attention and honor.
O King of royal blood, it is your decision of what to do with him who loathed and him who loved our state. It is your decision what to do with us, the living, just as it is with the dead.
Then see that you execute what I ordain.
That is a job for the young, and some of us are no longer that.
Fear not. I have posted guards to watch the corpse.
Then what would you have us do, my king?
Not to support anyone who disobeys.
Only someone with a death wish would do that.
The penalty is death. But many have brought about their own ruin before, if they are paid enough.
My lord, I'm not going to beat around the bush and pretend to be out of breath like the usual messenger. Actually, if I'm being honest, I was quite nervous to come here and tell you this, and I thought about turning around several times, but my conscience gave me courage and got me all the way here. Why are you rushing to your death, poor fool? I thought to myself, but then I thought, if Creon hears this from somebody else, it'll be even worse for you. So I got myself going eventually, but I kept thinking about turning right back around. But in the end, the forward voice prevailed. So now I'm facing you, and I will tell you what I have to say, because as I was telling myself a moment ago, what's going to happen will happen regardless.
What is thy news? What is of all the rambling?
May I say something first? I neither did the deed nor saw it done, so you have no reason to punish me.
A sound defense for a matter that is clearly of great importance.
Oh, anyone would be scared to share such news.
Then say it quickly, so you can run away.
Well, it must get out. Apollonices has been buried. Someone just now, strewing the corpse with dust, performed the proper ritual and was gone.
What did you say? Who dared to do this deed?
I have no idea, for there was not a trace of a shovel or a pickaxe or any transportation. No sign that human hands had been at work. When the first sentry of the morning watch gave the alarm, we were all terrified, for the corpse had vanished and was not buried, but instead strewn with dust, and there were no hunting animals nearby. Then, oh boy, did we have an angry war of words. Guard railed at guard, and it seemed like violence would prevail, for there was no one to separate us. Each, in turn, suspected another of guilt from lack of evidence. We challenged each other to great ordeals, like handling a red-hot iron, or passing through fire, or something similar to prove our innocence, until we realized that none of us had done the deed or knew who did. Our investigation was at a standstill when one of the group turned the rest of us into quivering reeds of fear, for there was no arguing or trying to escape perdition. Someone has to tell the king. We cannot hide from it, so he said. And so he convinced us all, and we agreed to draw a straw, and I, the unlucky scapegoat, drew the prize. So here I am, unwilling and clearly unwelcome, for no man cares to hear ill news.
My king, I've been wondering since she began speaking, is it possible that the gods did this?
Oh, shut up! You vex me with your babbling. Is it not foolish to think that the gods would give a thought for a dead traitor? Or perhaps the gods would bestow a special grace and as a benefactor, bury him? The very man who came to sack their shrines, to desolate their lands, and defy their ordinances? No, I have long noted the malcontents, those who shook their heads and kicked against the reins, misliking my order and my rule. For 'tis they, I assure you, who enticed my guards by bribes. Of all the evils of the world, money is the worst. It is money that sacks cities, takes man out of hearth and home, warps and seduces childlike innocence, and breeds a habit of dishonesty. But they who sold themselves shall find their greed overestimated by its importance and rue it sooner or later. Yes, as I still revere the dread Zeus, by Zeus I swear, unless you find before me and bring me the man who committed this lawless burial, death for your punishment shall not suffice. Hanged to a cross with your dying breath, you shall utter your confession of this outrage. That will teach you the lesson that will serve you well. There are some crimes that bring no gain. The few may thrive from dishonesty, but the many shall come to ruin and disgrace.
May I not speak? Or must I go without a word?
Be gone! Don't you see that even this question irks me?
Where does it irk you, my lord? Is it your ears that suffer? Or your heart and heart?
What a professional babbler! Get you gone!
I may be a babbler, but I am innocent of this crime!
You are twice as guilty, having sold your soul for gain.
Alas, how sad it is when reasoners reason wrong.
Go, reason all you like, and you shall learn that the wages of ill-gotten gains is death.
Oh, I pray that the perpetrator may be found. But caught or not, and that's all up to luck, you will never see me here again, that is for sure. Despite my worst fears, I have escaped with my life for now, and I thank the gods for my safety.
The world is full of wonders, but none are more wondrous than humankind. Sailing over the raging sea, cutting through the frothing foam, we make our dangerous way.
And the oldest gods of the earth, who know neither work nor decay, still yield the soil to our plows year after year.
The quick-winged birds, the light-footed beasts of the forest, and the slippery families of the deep we ensnare in our traps. We have tamed the savage bull and the wild hare. The rough-maned steed is even broken to bear our will.
We have taught ourselves speech and speedy counsel, politics as well. We have learned to protect ourselves from the arrowy rain, the freezing air, and the open winter sky. We have even outsmarted plagues.
But we have found no cure for death. The thoughts of humanity fly by with cunning and skill. They guide us, sometimes to good and sometimes to evil.
If we obey the laws of the land and revere the gods of the state, then our city shall stand proud. But a cityless outcast, who veered from the right path, emboldened by his pride, never may he sit at our side. We shall never think alike.
What strange vision do I see? It fills me with wild surprise. I know her. I'm sure. It's her, the Princess Antigone.
Here's the culprit, arrested in the act of giving burial. But where's the king?
Here comes the king from the palace, just in time.
Why is my presence timely? What has happened?
No man, my lord, should ever make a vow, for if he swears he will not do a thing, he will change his mind after thinking about it for a while. When from the hailstorm of your threats I fled the palace, I swore you would never see me here again. But then I hit upon a stroke of luck and followed it here, so now I am not a man of my word. And here's my prisoner caught in the very act of decking the grave. No drawing straws this time. This prize is mine by right of discovery. So take her, judge her, hang her if you want. She's all yours, my liege, but now I get to leave here without your threats hanging over me.
Tell me, how did you arrest the girl and where?
Burying the man. There's nothing more to tell.
Have you lost your mind? Do you know what you are saying?
I saw this woman burying the corpse against your orders. Isn't that enough?
But how was she surprised and caught in the act?
It happened like this. As soon as I returned to my post, chased the whole way by your terrifying threats, I swept away the offending layer of dust and uncovered the clammy body. Then I sat high on the ridge with the rest of the watch, while each of us attempted to keep the group alert by teasing the sluggards who chanced to nap. So all night long we watched, until the sun rose high in the heavens and burned us with his blazing beams. A sudden whirlwind raised up a cloud of dust that blotted out the sky and swept the plain and stripped the trees bare of their leaves and shook the ground below. We closed our eyes and waited until the heaven-sent plague should pass. At last it ceased, and there stood this woman. A piercing cry she uttered, sad and shrill, wailed as she saw the body stripped and bare, and cursed the ruffians who had done this deed. Anon, she gathered handfuls of dry dust, and we, at the sight, swooped down and seized our quarry. Undismayed she stood, and when we charged her with the formal burial and this, she denied nothing. I was glad and grieved, for it is sweet to escape your own punishment, and yet to bring disaster to a friend is grievous. But in the end, I think it is your first duty to protect yourself.
Speak, girl. And the eyes downcast and head bent low, do you plead guilty or deny the deed?
Guilty. I did it. I don't deny it.
Guard, you may go on your way, and be thankful that you have escaped a heavy charge. Now answer this plain question, yes or no. Did you or did you not know about the decree forbidding this action?
How could I not know about it? It was announced publicly.
And yet you were so stupid to go against it.
Yes, for these laws were not ordained by Zeus, and she who sits enthroned with the gods below, Justice, did not approve these human laws. Nor did I think that you, a mortal man, could annul and override the immutable laws of heaven with your pen. I knew that I must die, even had you not proclaimed it, and if this just brings death sooner, I welcome it. For death is but a gift to those whose lives, like mine, are full of misery. And so my fate is not sad, but blissful. For had I endured to leave my mother's son unburied there, I should have grieved with reason, but now I have no need. And if in this you have judged me to be foolish, then I have been judged by a fool.
She is stubborn just like her father. This cursed girl fights even though it no longer does her any good.
Well then, let her know that the stubbornness of will is as soon as bended as the hottest iron becomes brittle when it gets too hot. This proud girl, no stranger to insolence, first oversteps the established law, and then a second and worse act. She boasts and glories in her wickedness. Now, if she can flaunt her wickedness as such, and go unpunished, I am woman, she is man. Although she be my sister's child, or more closely related than I'd like to think about, neither she nor her sister shall escape the utmost penalty, for both I suspect as arch conspirators of equal guilt. Bring forth this Manie. Even now I saw her in the palace, frenzied and distraught.
Do you want something more than my arrest and execution?
No, that would be more than enough.
Why delay then? To me no word of yours is pleasant, God forbid they please anyone. And my presence is no more welcome to you. How could I achieve anything greater in my life than being a hero for burying my brother? So all the citizens would say, were they not gagged by terror? How wonderful it is to be king, making all your acts and words the law.
Every citizen of Thebes seems to understand this except you.
They think as I do, but hold their tongues in your presence.
Are you not ashamed to be as foolish as they are?
I will never be ashamed to honor my family and the gods.
Was his dead enemy not your brother too?
They had the same mother and father, yes.
How can you betray one by honoring the other?
Eteocles would not see it as a betrayal.
If he could speak from beyond the grave, he would say much differently.
Polynices was also my brother.
He was a traitor that killed a true patriot!
The gods of the dead require these rites regardless.
They do not require that the cowardly be honored as hero.
Who knows what the gods deem virtues or follies?
Not even death can make foe a friend.
My nature is for mutual love, not hate.
Die then, and love the dead if you must. No woman shall be the master while I live.
Look, here comes Ismene from the palace, and it looks as if she's been crying, and her usually peaceful face is now red and fraught.
You, woman, like a viper hidden in the grass, did harbor in my home and drain my blood. 2 plagues I nurtured blindly, but your true goal, to sap my throne. Tell me, did you help with this crime? Or will you deny your sister as your blood?
I did the deed, if she will let me admit to it, and with my sister, claim to share the guilt.
That is unjust. You would not act with me when I approached you. So I refuse to let you share the punishment.
But now you are in alone and in trouble, so I will dare to claim my share as a partner in the loss.
The gods know who truly dared to do the deed. A friend in word alone is no friend of mine.
Oh, sister, do not reject me. Let me but share in your holy work so we can die together.
Do not claim to share the work you did not help to do. One death is enough. Why should you die?
What will I have to live for when you are dead?
Ask Creon. He's your family, king, and best friend.
Why are you mocking me? Are you enjoying seeing me cry?
Trust me, I get no joy from it.
Tell me how to help you now.
You can't. Save yourself. I won't hold it against you.
I can't at least join you, so you do not bear this punishment alone?
No, for you chose to obey man and live. I chose to obey the gods and die.
You can't say that I didn't try.
Well, some approved your wisdom, others mine.
Now we stand here convicted, both alike.
Don't worry. You will live. I died long ago when I gave my life to save the dead.
I think both women are crazy. One has suddenly lost her wits, and the other was born mad.
Yes, that is what happens, sire. When misfortune comes, the wisest even lose their wits.
You lost your mind when you made the righteous decision to break the law of the miscreant.
What life is left for me without my sister here?
Don't say your sister here. Your sister's dead.
What? You'd kill your own son's fiancé?
Yes. Let him raise his seed from other fields.
No new engagement can be like the first.
A plague on gold diggers who court and woo our sons!
Oh, Haman! How your father dishonors you!
A plague on you and this accursed bride!
You would rob your own son of his bride?
It is death that ends this marriage, not his father.
So her death warrant, it seems, is sealed.
Signed and sealed. Guards, take them away and keep them close. Remind them that they should remain in women's work and to not meddle in affairs beyond themselves. Even the bravest run away when they feel that death is pressing on life's heels.
How lucky are those who have never tasted pain. Once a curse from heaven has infected a race, the virus lingers and spreads quickly, and each generation must drink from the poisoned cup.
Just like when the northern rain swells and sweeps over the darkening beach, whirling over the land, bringing ooze and sand from the depths of its caves.
I have seen this curse descend upon the royal family, compiling woe upon woe, as the gods laid a curse on the family of Oedipus, and its effects still scoured each generation with never-ending sorrow.
The light that had dawned on our last king has vanished, and the bloody axe of fate has chopped down the family tree that had just begun to blossom. O Oedipus, undone my reckless pride.
Zeus, what mortal has the ability to stop your power? Not sleep that puts all living things under its spell, nor the tireless cycle of the moon untouched by time. Enthroned atop Mount Olympus, you reign a sublime and omnipotent king, past, present, and future, all bow to your command.
Hope flits about with never-wearying wings. To some she brings profit, to some she brings love, but no one knows how her gifts may turn out until the ashes of that very hope burn beneath their feet.
Here comes Haman, the latest in this royal line, clearly angry and upset. Is he grieving for his fiancée, or the wedded bliss they will never have?
Soon we shall know the answer. I'm sure you have doubtlessly heard about the sentencing of your bride. Don't tell me you've come to spew your hate at me. Don't you know that whatever I do for you is out of love?
Father, I'm your son and subject. I take your new heading, my new direction without question. Therefore, no marriage can be more precious in my sight than your loving guidance.
Well said. So right a timid son should feel. In the hope of parents they may rear a brood of sons submissive, keen to avenge their father's wrongs, and count his friends as his own. But those who beget unprofitable sons verily breathes trouble for himself and laughter for his foes. Son, be warned, and don't let a woman fool away thy wits. Ill fares the husband mated with a shrew, and her embrace soon grows cold. For I openly caught her rebelling, the one malcontent. I will not prove a traitor to the state. The state is his who rules it, in all things small and grand, just and unjust alike. What evils are wrought by anarchy! She ruins the state and overthrows the home, and destroys her city like a parasite. But the ordered reign shall soon persevere. Therefore we must maintain authority and not yield to a woman's will. It would be better to say that I was outed by a man than bested by a woman.
It seems to me, my king, unless old age has dulled my wits, that your words appear both reasonable and wise.
Father, the gods gave every human reason, the most precious gift bestowed by heaven, and it is not my place to say whether you are right or wrong, nor would I doubt your wisdom, if I could. And yet wise thoughts may occur to other men, and as your son, it falls to me to notice the acts, the words, the comments of the crowd. The citizens stand in terror of your frown and dare not utter a word that might offend you, but I can overhear their muttered complaints. I know how the people mourn for Antigone's doom, for the noblest of deeds to die the worst of deaths. When her own brother, slain in battle, lay unburied, she could not bear for his corpse to lie, for carrion birds and dogs to maul. Should not her name, they cry, be written in gold? These are the whispers that reach my ears. Oh, Father, nothing is more important to me than your well-being, for what higher good can children want for their parents, as fathers too take pride in glorious sons. Therefore, my Father, cling not to one idea. Don't decide that you are right and all others are wrong. For those who decide all wisdom dwells in them are oracles of empty breath. The wisest man lets himself be swayed when he hears wisdom from others. See how the trees beside a flooded stream are saved if they yield to the force, each branch unharmed. But the ones that resist perish root and branch. Relent then, and repent for your wrath. For if a youngling can claim to have some sense, the wisest will listen to the sage advice of others.
My king, heed your son's advice. And young prince, heed your father's as well.
What? Would you have me at my age be schooled by some beardless boy about wisdom?
I plead for justice, father, nothing more. Weigh me upon my merit, not my years.
Strange merit to sanction lawlessness.
Well, I would not side with evildoers.
Is not this maid an errant lawbreaker?
Well, the Theban citizens with one voice say no.
And what, should the mob dictate my policy?
Well, it's you, I think, who speaks like a boy.
Oh, reprobate, have you come to fight your own father?
Because I see you acting wrongfully.
And am I wrong if I maintain my rights?
Oh, don't talk about rights. You disregard the laws of heaven.
Oh, corrupt heart, you woman's minion!
Oh, you'll never be able to call me dishonorable.
Your last speech was a plea for her!
And for you, and for me, and for the gods below.
If she lives, she will never be your bride!
And she will die, but one will die with her.
Have you come to threaten me, boy?
How is thwarting vanity a threat?
Vain fool to lecture your betters. You soon shall regret it!
If you were not my father, I would say you were wrong.
Don't pretend to be loyal. You're a woman's slave.
When you speak, must no one reply.
That is enough! By the laws of heaven, you shall not rate and flout and jeer me without punishment. Off with the hateful thing, and see that she may die by her groom in his sight!
She will not die by my side or in my sight, and you will never see me here again. Go talk to your yes men who prefer the company of a madman.
My king, your son has gone in an angry haste. The anger of the wounded is very dangerous.
Let him vent his fury like a fiend. He cannot save these sisters from death.
Surely you cannot mean to kill both of them.
I stand corrected. Only she who touched the body.
And what death is set for her?
Bring her to some desert place with a tomb with 3 days' worth of food. We wouldn't want the stain of homicide upon the state. Then let her revere the one God she truly loves, the King of the dead. And let her learn a lesson learned at last. Paying reverence to the dead is a wasted labor.
No one can resist you, love. All yield at a glance of your eye. Love, who lies all night on a maiden's cheek, has a hold over the land.
What mortal can escape you? Your subjects are all mad, and not even the wisest heart will fall straight into folly at the touch of your poisoned dart. It is you who ignited this strife, this feud of family against family, through the eyes of a would-be wife and a prince longing for her heart.
Oh, invincible love, I am beside myself, struck with injustice, as I see this betrayed bride, a sight to drown my eyes.
Antigone, so young, so fair, flushed down the death's chamber, shares bed.
Friends, countrymen, this is my final farewell. My journey's done. Well, lingering look I gave at the bright sun. For death puts to sleep both young and old comes for my life. He beckons me to follow him, an unwed wife. No marriage songs have been sung for me. No one has strewn my bridal bed with flowers. I am being wed to death. But just think, you are being taken great and glorious. No sword has pierced your body, no disease has laid waste to your frame. You will go freely. from the land of the living into the land of the dead.
Once you mock me. No. Is it fair to insult me to my still living face? I entreat you by your love of Thebes, you leaders of our state, to stop. Oh, Thebes, see how your cruel loss have now brought about my ruin. And now I have no friend left to share me pity in my time of need. Was there ever a fate like mine? A monstrous doom, doomed inside a rock-built prison, to wither in a living grave, belonging neither to the living or the dead.
Overly hasty in your boldness, you madly pointed your feet against the altar of justice.
You are your father's daughter.
And now you have touched the worst part of my pain.
My cursed father's piteous disgrace, the taint of his blood, the hereditary stain that clings to all of our family. Woe to the monstrous marriage bed where mother lay with son, where I was conceived. Woe to the me, the fruit of incestuous sheets, a miserable maid. And now I will pass on, cursed and unwed, an immigrant to meet them in the land below. And you, O brother father, with your forbidden marriage, have dealt me this death blow with your dead hand.
Religion has its change, it's true. Let rights be paid and rights are due.
Yet it is wrong to disobey the earthly powers that hold sway.
Since you have fought authority, a bride to death you now must be.
Unwept, unwed, unfriended I go. No longer may I see the morning sky, with no friend left to share my bitter woe, or over my fresh ashes soon cry.
If cries and lamentation ever succeeded in starving off death, I'm sure they'd never end. Guards, away with her, having her walled up in a rock-vaulted tomb as I ordered. Leave her alone to die when she will, or at least to remain there in solitude until the day she dies. Regardless, the state is guiltless of this maiden's blood.
O grave, O bridal bed, O prison built from the rock, my everlasting home. There I go to join the mighty host of family, of all most miserable. I pass my destined span of years cut short, and yet the good hope is mine that I shall find a welcome from my father. Welcome too from my mother and my brother dear. With these hands I've decked your limbs and poured libations on your grave. And last, my Polynices, for you I paid due rites, and this is my recompense. For by the law of conscience I was led to honor you, dear brother, and was judged by Creon guilty of a heinous crime. Alas, my piety is deemed impious. Well, if such justice is approved by heaven, I shall be taught my sin through suffering. But if the justice is theirs, oh, may they suffer no worse ills than the wrongs they do to me.
The same ungovernable will that drove Antigone to her doom is now at the helm of her decisions.
Guards, take her away. You have wasted enough of my time.
Tragic Antigone, I hear the order that brings me to my untimely death.
I wish I could do something, but this order can mean nothing but death.
My homeland, the divine city of Thebes, the last of all your royal houses before you, martyred by men, blameless of sin. This is the reward my piety has earned.
Yes.
Two weary travelers with one set of eyes comes for an audience. The blind man cannot move without a guide.
And what do I owe this pleasure, Tiresias?
I will tell you, but you must promise to heed my words.
I will. I have always heeded your warnings, and I will gladly acknowledge my debt to you.
Know then that once again you tread on the razor edge of peril.
What is this? Your words inspire a feeling of dread.
Through my art of prophecies, I will tell you. Sitting upon my throne of divination, as is my habit, I heard a strange sound, twitterings, hoots, and screams. And thus I knew that each heavenly fowl which harbors there was tearing at the other, for the whir of wings could signify nothing else. Perturbed by this, I immediately offered a sacrifice upon the flame, upon the burning altars. But the god of fire came not into the flame. Instead, out of the thigh bone, sputtered a foul ooze. And the sure signs told to me by this boy, I saw the signs of oracles grown dumb. O king, your willful temper ails the state, for all our shrines and altars are profaned by what has filled the flesh of dogs and crows, Oedipus's unburied son. Oh, do not vex the dead. What glory will it bring to murder somebody who is already dead? To err is common to all men, but the wise man repents and seeks a cure. I speak in the best interest of you and of Thebes.
Why are all of you soothsayers obsessed with me? You are snake oil salesmen, all of you. With my fate, you buy and sell like merchandise. You shall not buy this man's burial. Not even the winged servants of Zeus should grab his corpse in their talons and bring it to his throne. I also know, Tiresias, how far those who fall by selling their words for filthy gain.
Does any human heart know?
Is this the prelude to some hackneyed acting?
Isn't advice the best gift someone can receive?
And false wisdom is the worst of ills.
Then you have infected yourself with that disease.
I will not trade insults with you, seer.
And yet you say my prophecies are frauds.
Prophets are all a money-getting tribe.
And kings all a power-loving race.
Do you know who you are talking to?
The king and savior of Thebes, thanks to me.
You are a skilled prophet, but you have strayed from the path.
Watch your words, or you will force me to reveal the secret deep hidden inside my breast.
Say on, but see it not be said for gain.
I see you think I come to you for money.
I doubt you will change my mind.
Know then, before the sun has run its course across the sky, you will have given your own royal child in payment for your murder. Life for life. For that thou hast entombed a living soul, and sent down a corpse to the nether gods, untended, unwept, unsepulchred. No one has dominion over death, not even the gods in heaven. And yet you usurp the power which is not yours, and now expect whether I wish to be paid for this or not. Boy, take me home, so that he may vent his anger on the younger men, and learn to curb his tongue with gentler manners than his present mood.
My king hath gone, foretelling well. Oh, believe me, my king, since these locks were like the ravens, never have I known the prophet's foretelling to be false.
I know it, and it perplexes me. It pains me to change my mind, but being stubborn might bring worse pains still.
Son of Menecius, list to good advice.
Advise me. I will listen.
Go. Free the girl, and for the unburied brother build a tomb.
Is that your counsel? Would you have me healed?
Yes, my king, this instant. The vengeance of the gods is swift to take the remorseless.
Ah, what a wretch it is to sacrifice my heart's decision. But fate is hard to fight.
Go, and listen to no others but yourself. You must.
You're right. I will. Guards, get your shovels and pickaxes. I bound her there, and I will set her free.
No way!
Oh God, in your mercy, protect our beloved city. Protect our king out to right his impious wrong. Protect our princess entombed alive, and let your curses pass over us just this once. Oh God, in your mercy, protect our beloved city. Protect our king out to right his impious wrong. Protect our princess entombed alive, and let your curses pass over us just this once. Oh gods, in your mercy, protect our beloved city. Protect our king out to your mercy.
Oh God, in your mercy, protect our beloved city. Protect our king, protect our princess, let your curses pass over us
just this once. Just this once. Just this once.
Come, citizens of Thebes, come all and listen to the terrible news. There is no one hereon that I will pass judgment on. For fortune is constantly rising and falling like the tide, casting down and raising kings and criminals alike. Take Creon. He, I thought, out of this whole city was enviable. He had saved this land from our enemies and attained a monarch's powers and ruled the state supreme, and was blessed, on top of all this, with a royal son. Now all is gone and wasted, for a life without life's joys is only a living death. You'll tell me he has an ample store of wealth, the pomp and circumstance of kings. But if these give no pleasure, all the rest is but the shadow of a shade.
What woes do you bring to the royal house now, messenger?
Both dead, and he who lives deserves to die.
Who is the victim and who is the slayer? Please speak.
Haman! His blood shed by no stranger's hand.
Whatever do you mean by his father's or his own?
His own, in anger over his father's crime.
Oh, prophet, what you foretold has come to pass.
So stand facts.
Look, coming from the palace gates, it's Creon's unhappy wife, Eurydice. Has she already heard the news?
Citizens of Thebes, I overheard your talk. As I came to offer up my prayer to the gods, upon my ears there broke a wail that told of household woe. And stricken with terror, in my handmaid's arms, I fell and fainted. So repeat your tale to me, already so familiar with misery.
Dear mistress, I was there, and will relate to you the full truth, leaving nothing out. Why leave things out now, to be proved a liar after? Truth is the best course. Well, in attendance on my liege, your lord, we traveled off to the farthest edge of the plains, where the corpse of Polynices, gnawn and mauled, was still lying. First, with contrite hearts, we offered up a prayer to end the god's wrath. Then prepared the mangled corpse, laid it on fresh chopped branches, lit a fire, and piled a mighty burial mound of Mother Earth. Then, to the caverned rock, the bridal chamber of the maid and death. We sped and were about to enter, but a guard heard from inside a shrill wail and ran back to our lord to tell the news. As we drew near, we could hear the hollow sound of lamentation. He groaned and uttered then this bitter cry, "Is this the saddest path I've ever walked? It is my son's voice that calls me. Press on, my guards. Run with double speed to the tomb, so I may know if it is Haman's voice beckoning me, or heaven playing tricks on me." So, at the bidding of our distraught king, we looked, and in the vaulted gloom, I saw the maiden lying strangled there, a noose of linen twined about her neck. And beside her, clasping her cold form, Haman lay, bewailing his dead bride. When the king saw him, with a terrible groan, he cried, "My son, what have you done? What is wrong with you? What disaster has robbed you of your reason? Oh, come away, my son. Please come away. Your father is begging you." But the son glared at him with tiger eyes, spat in his face, and without any further word, drew his two-hilted sword and lashed, but missed, as the father dodged back. Then the boy, angry with himself, poor wretch, he fell on his sword and drove it through his side. With his last breath, he wrapped his arms around the maid. So, there they lay, two corpses, one in death. His marriage rites are consummated in the halls of death.
The queen has gone in an upset haste. What do you make of this? The queen has gone without a word.
I am also surprised, but I am hopeful that she shrinks from the public and would with her maidens mourn a private loss.
You must admit, excessive silence is no worse than excessive grief.
Well, then, let us to the palace and see for ourselves. It may be you are right. Unnatural silence signifies no good.
Look, the king himself approaches, carrying the evidence of his crimes. And though it makes me nervous to accuse the king in public, the guilt is his and his alone.
Cursed by my own faulty logic, cursed by my own bad counsel and sin. Oh, my son, you were far too young, and now your barely begun life is ended. It's all my fault. Oh, my son,
You see the truth, but now it is too late.
I have been schooled by sorrow. The gods have raised their hand and put me on a rough and thorny path. I'm humbled by pride. My pleasure has been turned to pain. Poor mortals be all so blind.
You have your share of sorrows, my king. One is lying at your feet, yet another waits for you when you go home.
What sorrows are not already part of my tale?
Your wife, the mother of your dead son, lies dead from a fresh wound.
Where is the depth of this pain? Does it come to kill me too? What has this messenger told me? Is it sharp enough to kill again, although I am already dead?
See for yourself. They brought her out for all to see.
I see. Another added woe. What else can crown my agony? And the minute I took to hold my lifeless son, death has won another victim. Unhappy mother and most unhappy son.
She put a sword beside the sacred altar and closed her eyes and fell on it. But while she was thinking of her fallen son, she cursed you.
I shudder with fear. I wish I had such a sword for me. I am a wretch. Misery and I are one!
It is true. The dead queen charged you with both deaths, hers and her son's.
I am the guilty one. I dig deep. I am the murderer! I plead guilty! Guards, lead me away. I am less than nothing. Why are you hesitating?
If something can be done to make this right, it must be done.
Come, fate. Come to a friend in need. Come as fast as you can. Please, let me not see another sunrise.
There is not time for this, my king. I know it's difficult, but we have other matters that must be dealt with.
I pray for wisdom.
There's no time for prayers. We have matters that must be attended to right now.
I am a wretched fool who killed you, my son, and your mother too. I don't know where else to turn. Every way seems to lead me astray. I feel the crushing hand of fate killing me from above.
There is no happiness where there is no wisdom, and going against the gods is fraught with peril. The gods smite those who aspire to their power. Errors past brings wisdom to citizens and kings alike.